About 2 years ago, I made a video here on the channel talking about how to add a custom texture to Minecraft using a resource pack and custom model data. At the end of that video, I made it so that every single diamond in the game would still look like a diamond, but with a single simple command, I could get a diamond that looked like a ruby. It would still very much function as a diamond, just the texture was different. Now, that's pretty cool. And while that tutorial still applies to this day to most Minecraft versions, as of Minecraft version 1.21.4, Mojang has completely revamped the way resource packs work. And now, it works a little different. Also in that original video, I didn't talk about blocks at all. Only items. And that's what I will be doing today. Time to add some custom textures to Minecraft. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the foundation of our resource pack. This means we need to create a bunch of folders and a pack.mc meta file. So the first thing you want to do is simply create a brand new folder. I'm going to call mine Kasai Pack. Just like that, but name it anything you want. Now next, it is time to make a decision. You can do everything I'm about to show you without any program whatsoever. You can just start creating folders in default Windows or Linux or macOS. You don't need any program for this, but I would still highly recommend using the program Visual Studio Code. This program will make the whole process a lot easier. Again, you can follow this tutorial perfectly fine without using this program, but I would highly recommend it. And I will leave a link to the download page in the description down below. Now to start, what we want to do is click on Open Folder. And this will then allow us to open the folder we just created. Over here at the top underneath Explorer, it should now say the name of the folder we just created. And now it is time to make a bunch of folders. So when you right click on this field, you can simply create a new folder. We're going to create one called Assets. Then when we right click on the Assets folder, we can create a new folder. And this will be your namespace. The default namespace of Minecraft is, well, Minecraft. But as we're gonna add custom textures, I would highly recommend keeping them separate from the Minecraft namespace. Instead, you can call this anything you want. So I'm gonna do Kasai_pack. After that, we want to create 3 more folders inside of our namespace folder. So when we right click on our namespace and then click on new folder, we can create an additional one. This one I'm gonna call Items. Don't call it item, it has to be items. One single spelling mistake here will make it so your entire pack breaks. So do keep that in mind. Then I'm gonna right click on Kasai Pack again, click on new folder, and this one we're gonna call Models. Once again with an S at the end, very important. And then we're gonna do the same thing once more. Right click, new folder, and we're gonna call it Textures. And there we go. Your namespace folder should now have 3 additional folders. We now have 2 more folders to add. This time you want to create a new folder inside of the Models folder. So simply right click, new folder, and this one you want to call Item. Just Item. And you want to do the same thing for the Textures folder. So right click, new folder, item, enter, done. This will be your base folder layout. There is one more thing we need to do though to actually turn it into a Minecraft resource pack. And that is creating a pack.mc meta file. It is basically the file that makes it so Minecraft recognizes your folder as a resource pack. This one you want to create in the root of your resource pack. You simply want to click on new file and call it pack.mc meta. And inside of the pack.mc meta file, you want to write the following. First, we want to type 2 of these brackets. I don't know their official names, but they kind of look like brackets. Then inside of the brackets, in between quotation marks, you want to type pack. After that, a colon, space, and then 2 more of these bracket thingies. What are their names? What are they called? Curly brackets. Okay. They are just brackets. Then we want to press enter again. And then once again, in between quotation marks, we want to write description. And once again, a colon, space, more quotation marks. You will see that we need quotation marks a lot today. And then over here, you want to specify the description that will appear inside of Minecraft. So basically the grayed out text that shows over here. So I'm going to do subscribe to Kasaisura. There we go. Then you want to type a comma. After that, enter again. More quotation marks. This time we're going to write pack_format, then a colon, space, and now we need our pack format number. Now, I will leave a link to this page in the description down below, but over here you can basically find all of the pack numbers. So all the way at the top we got a list of data pack numbers, and when we scroll down we can find a list of all the resource pack numbers. So over here you simply want to look for the Minecraft version you are making a resource pack for. In my case, I'm making a resource pack for version 1.21.4, which means that my number will be 46. So this number, 46, you simply want to write down over here, just like that. And now your pack.mc meta file is complete. Simply Ctrl S to save. And now inside of Minecraft, we can test if it works. So when we put the folder we just created into the resource packs folder, it should appear like this, which means we created the MC meta file successfully. Now, if your pack turns up red over here, it basically says the pack is not compatible with your Minecraft version. You entered the wrong value. So if that is the case for you, make sure to go back to this page and then go and check if you actually used the right version. At the time of releasing this video, 1.21.4 is still the newest version of Minecraft, but if you're watching this video in like a year, 1.22 might be out already, and then of course you will need to use a completely different value. Now, if your pack doesn't show up here at all, Minecraft just doesn't even recognize it, you made a mistake somewhere along the way. So make sure to go back and double check everything. Now, next up, you need a texture. It doesn't matter how you get your texture. This is also not a tutorial on how to make a texture or how to get a texture, but you just need to make sure you have a texture that you want to add to your resource pack. I got this heart for no particular reason except for that I will love you when you subscribe. Hey, make sure to click that button, why not? So to add that heart texture to our pack, we need to do 3 things. First of all, we need to drag the texture into the item folder that is located inside of the textures folder. So simply go and drag it in, just like that. Oh, it looks really bad. Well, that doesn't matter. Make sure that the path over here shows that it is actually located inside of the item folder. Now, next up, we want to create a JSON file. Now, this JSON file you also want to put in the item folder, but not the item folder located in textures, but the item folder located in models. So on the item folder, we're simply gonna right click, new file, and we're gonna call it, for example, heart_model.json. And over here, we basically want to create a JSON file that points to this heart.png texture. So the way we're going to do that is, first of all, curly brackets, like always. Press enter, put in some quotation marks, and then we're going to type parent. After that, we're going to type a colon, space, more quotation marks, and over here, you want to type in Minecraft colon item/generated. Now, I'm not gonna explain exactly what this means or how it works, because if I would do that, we will get more into advanced territory, and I'm trying to keep this video relatively simple for those just getting started. So, just trust me. This is what you want to type. Then we're gonna type a comma, after that, more quotation marks, and this time we want to type textures. Then a colon once again, a space, more curly brackets, then in between the brackets you want to press enter again, more quotation marks, and here you want to type a layer 0. Yes, we're gonna work with layers now, though we're just gonna create a single layer. And what should layer 0 be? Of course, the heart texture. So we want to type a colon, after that a space, more quotation marks, and now we want to point to the heart.png texture. So over here you first want to specify your namespace, which for me is Kasai_pack. So that's what I'm gonna type, Kasai_pack, then a colon, after that item, a slash, and then the name of your texture, which for me is simply heart. And that's it. Your JSON file is done. Now the parent, that is basically the method the game uses to render this texture. Now you will see what item generated looks like in a little bit, but there are more ways to render this texture. And we will be going over another one later in this video. But for this one, we're simply gonna use item generated. So simply go ahead and save this file. And after that, we just have one more JSON file to create. So this time we want to create a new JSON file, but then inside of the items folder. So simply right click, new file, and I'm also going to call it heart_model.json. Now inside of this file, of course, once again, we're going to start with curly brackets. Then in between quotation marks, we want to type model, after that colon, more curly brackets. And at first we want to specify the type, which is simply going to be Minecraft colon model. Then we want to type a comma, enter, more quotation marks. Now we want to specify the model, and this file will basically point to the JSON file we just created. And here we need to specify where that file is located. So for me, there will be kasai_pack, then colon, item, then a slash, and then the name of that JSON file. So for me, that is heart_model. You don't have to type .json, doesn't matter. This is it. So in the most simple terms possible, we now got the JSON file inside of the items folder that points to the JSON file inside of the models folder that then points to the texture. And after you've done all of that, we are ready to go. Now for those paying attention, you might have noticed that the texture we just added, we didn't point to any item in particular. This is one of the cool things about this brand new resource pack overhaul. You no longer need to point a custom texture to one particular item. Instead, we can now apply the custom texture we added to any item in the game we want. So first, add the resource pack to your game and make sure to select it. After that, we want to type a simple command that will give us an item with the custom texture we just added. And the command goes as follows: /give. After that, your own username, and then you want to type the item that you want. So for example, a piece of paper, why not? But by typing one of these brackets, we can specify additional information, which includes a custom model. So let's type one of these brackets, item_model. And after that, we need to specify what model we want to apply to this piece of paper. So the item model is, and after that, in quotation marks, we want to specify the path. Now the two things you need to specify here are the namespace and then the name of the model. Now the namespace in my case is kasai_pack. After that, you want to type a colon and then the name of the model, which for me is heart_model. After that, you want to put a bracket at the end, and there we go. That's it. This is the command. When I now press enter, you will see that I got a beautiful, somewhat pixelated heart. Doesn't it look amazing? Well, it doesn't really, but at least it works, and that's what matters. Now, good to keep in mind is that this is a piece of paper. It is very much still a piece of paper, and it can be used as a piece of paper. You can use it in crafting recipes that require paper, but you can apply this texture to any item you want. So if we want to apply it to an apple, we can totally do that by executing the same command, but changing the item to an apple. There we go. This is now an apple. It looks like a heart. I can eat it because it's an apple. If I would change this to diamond, I will get a diamond, which means I can now craft a diamond sword with hearts. Look at that. So yeah, that totally works and is really, really cool. And using this method, you can add as many custom item textures as you want. Now, I do want to talk about blocks for a bit, because blocks are somewhat of a hassle. In the original video I made, I got a bunch of comments of people asking, Kasai, why didn't you cover how to do the same thing, but then with blocks? And the reason is, it is not really possible. Well, it kinda is, but not in the same way as with regular items. So every single texture that you see over here, we call these items. Even the block textures over here, you could call them block items, but as long as they are in your hand, they are still an item. And the cool thing about items is that they can have unique textures. So if I would give myself a diamond again, there we go, these two items are both diamonds. They are exactly the same thing. One just looks different. It is a unique diamond that has all the properties of a regular diamond, but just a different texture. That is something that you can do with items. And you could even have two grass blocks that in your inventory look different from each other. But as soon as you place the item down, it turns into an actual block. Now it is like a 3D texture that appears in the overworld. Call them overworld blocks for all I care. The thing about these overworld blocks is that they cannot have unique textures. Meaning, if I want to change the texture of a grass block, I will change the texture of every single grass block in the entire world. As of right now, you can't have a single overworld block like this have a different texture than all of the others, which is really sad and definitely something that Mojang should add to the game. Now, of course, there are workarounds. Usually these workarounds involve mushroom blocks, node blocks, or spawners. They are not something I will be explaining in this video, as we would be really getting into advanced territory, but these are basically the blocks that most custom item plugins like Nexo or Items Header rely on. Because simply retexturing a singular block is just not something that you can do in Minecraft, at least not right now. Now something we can do is add a custom block item texture. So we can make it so that a diamond block inside of our inventory looks different than another diamond block in our inventory. As soon as we would place it down, they would look the same, but inside of like this menu, in item form, basically, we can make it so it does have a unique texture. So here I got the texture of a sapphire block. You can see the texture doesn't have a cube form or whatever. It is just a simple flat texture of one side of the block. But that is enough. What we're gonna do is inside of the textures folder, you wanna create a brand new folder called block. Simply block. Of course, you wanna do the same thing inside of the models folder. So right click, new folder, block, and we're done. Now the sapphire texture that I just showed you, you want to drag inside of the block folder in textures. Just like that. Now next, we once again want to create a JSON file inside of the models folder. This time not in item, but in block. And if you don't like typing all of this stuff, you can in theory just copy and paste this one. You do need to change a few details though. So we can simply do copy and paste. There we go. Then of course you do want to change the name, and I'm going to call it sapphire_model.json. Now in this file you want to change a few things. First of all, we need to change the parent, because currently it wants to generate this model as an item. We don't want that though, we want it to look like a block. So the thing we need to type here is a block, then a slash, and after that cube_all. Now while the item/generated parent made it so that an item looks like a regular Minecraft item, the block/cube all parent makes it so that the block will look like a block. This parent basically creates a block where every single side consists out of this texture. Now over here we once again want to specify the layers. And because a block texture doesn't have any layers, over here we simply want to type all. And then once again we want to point towards this model. So we're gonna do block, and after that the name of the model itself, which is Sapphire. Don't forget to save the file after you're done. After that, there's one more thing left to do, which is creating a JSON file inside of the items folder. So simply right click, new file. I'm gonna call it sapphire model.json. There we go. And after that, you can in theory just copy everything from the hard model folder we created before. So just simply copy it, paste it in. The only thing you do want to change here is the model path. So currently it is item and then hard model. We're gonna change it to block and then sapphire_model. Make sure to save everything. And after that, when we're back in game, we simply want to type /give, then your username. After that, the item you want. So I'm gonna do a diamond block. Then we want to type one of these brackets and then specify the model. So even though we're gonna apply it to a block, this is still something we refer to as an item model. So simply type item model. And after that, we want to specify the item model, which in my case is located in Kasai_pack, colon, and then the name is sapphire_model. Place a bracket at the end, and this will be the command. When I now press enter, I will get a diamond block that looks like a sapphire block. That is pretty cool. Look at that. And you can see that regular diamond blocks still look like diamond blocks. It just has a different texture. Now, because of what I mentioned before, if you place down the diamond block that looks like a diamond, in the overworld it will look like a diamond block. But unfortunately, the same thing applies for this one. It's still a diamond block. And that is how it will appear in the overworld. Now again, yes, there are workarounds. Those workarounds are used by a lot of custom item plugins. And if you are interested in them, do make sure to let me know in the comments down below, because I might have a look at that in the future. Now the last thing I want to show you today is how to overwrite a vanilla Minecraft block. And while doing so, I also want to show you another very cool parent. So overriding a vanilla block means we're gonna change the texture of a certain block altogether. Let's, for the example of this video, take stone. I want to change the texture of stone altogether. How do I do that? Well, allow me to show you. So I just found these two stone textures online. This one I called stone side and this one I called stone top. Now the reason I named them this way is because I'm gonna overwrite the vanilla stone texture, but I'm gonna apply the same effect that logs have to stone. In other words, I want this texture to appear on the side of every single stone block and this texture to appear at the top and bottom of every single stone block. I think that would be pretty cool. So let's do it. The first thing we're gonna do is add the textures we want to overwrite the vanilla stone texture with inside of the textures folder. And then of course inside of block. So just gonna put them in there. There we go. Now we have the sapphire block in here, stone side and stone top. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to create a new namespace. Because remember, until now we've done everything in our own namespace called kasai_pack. But because we're now gonna overwrite a vanilla Minecraft item, we need to start working in the Minecraft namespace, which simply doesn't exist yet. So let's go and create it. Inside of the assets folder, we want to create a new folder called Minecraft. We can just collapse the Kasai Pack namespace folder altogether now because we currently don't need it. Instead, we need to do some stuff in the Minecraft namespace. So first we want to create a new folder, and this one is called Models. Yes, we've seen a models folder before, but the one we created is in our own namespace. Now we want to make one here. Inside of the models folder, we want to create a block folder, just like that. And then inside of the block folder, you want to create a JSON file that corresponds with the block you want to replace. So in my case, because I'm replacing the stone block, I want to call it stone.json. If you're replacing a diamond block, you want to call it diamond_block.json. If you want to replace a sand block, it will be sand.json, and so on. Now, inside of the stone.json file, we have some things to specify. Because what we want to do here is we basically want to point to the two textures we just added to our own namespace, but we also want to change up the parent. Because while by default, the stone block simply uses the cube all parent, if we want the top and bottom to have a different texture than the sides, we need to use a cube column parent. So to do that, the first thing you want to do is of course curly brackets, like always. Then it's time for more quotation marks, and here you want to type parent. After that, a colon, space, more quotation marks, and here we want to type a Minecraft colon, block, slash, and after that, cube_column. Just like that. This is what it should look like. Then you want to type a comma and enter, more quotation marks. Now we want to specify the textures. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to point to the textures we added in our own namespace. Type a colon again, space, more curly brackets, and then inside of these curly brackets, we want to type more quotation marks, and we're now going to specify the side texture. So here we need to give the location of the side texture. And where is it located? For me, it is located in the Kasai_pack namespace. Then we want to do colon, block, because it is located inside of the block folder, and then another slash, and then the name of the texture, which in my case is stone_side. Then you want to type a comma, and on the next line, we want to specify the top and bottom, which in resource packs is called end. Then we want to type a colon again, space, or quotation marks, like always. And then again, we need to specify where that texture is located. So it's going to be in block slash stone_top, because that's what I called it. And there we go. It is done. We have now officially overwritten the vanilla Minecraft stone texture. And when we now go back in the game, you can see that the textures have changed. At least some of them. But the blocks that have changed, like this one, you can see that the top has a different texture than the sides. All of the sides here do have the same texture, and then the top and the bottom have the same texture as well. So basically, just like a log, where the texture of all the sides are the same, and then the top and bottom texture are the same. So that's really cool. It fully works. Now you might think to yourself, Kasai, nice that it works, but why are these stone blocks not retextured? Well, good question. Stone blocks are kind of funky. They actually use two different textures. So there is a regular stone texture, which I've just overwritten and now looks like this. But there is also a stone_mirrored texture. Now, why is that in the game? Probably to make stone look more random and not very repetitive. As, of course, in Minecraft, you do a lot of mining, and the world would look really boring if every single stone block would look alike. So there actually is some variation. If you want those textures to apply to all blocks, what we can do is simply copy the stone.json file, paste it in the same folder, and then we're gonna rename it to stone_mirrored. There we go. We don't have to change anything here because these are the two textures we want to apply. But now when we save everything up, you can see now every single stone block has successfully been overwritten, where all the sides will be the same and the top and bottom will be the same. Now that is really cool. And this also allows you to just put a lot more variety into your world. Because if I would not change the stone mirrored texture, then it's always gonna be random what stone looks like. Now, if you would like to see more videos like this in the future, where I show how to do cool things with resource packs, then definitely let me know in the comments down below. And that's gonna be it for today. Do make sure to subscribe to my channel, join my Discord. Thank you so much, channel members. And then I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, see you later, bye bye!